All right. Just give me 1 second. Just going to make sure the audio is working. And then we will get started. All right, testing. Okay, I think we're good. All right, we got a fun one tonight, I think. We have the brand new, recently announced Rad Power Bikes RadExpand 5 here to do a live unboxing. I'll have a link in the description if you're looking to purchase a Rad Power Bike. Really appreciate it if you use my link. It's a free and easy way to help support the channel, so thanks in advance. And I will also have some links to our resources. So our electric bike accessories list, top e-bike brands page, and finally our electric bike discounts code page, where I track all the deals on the electric bike brands that I follow. And let's see, anything else about this bike? I think I'm going to go through some of the specs. This is really replacing the Rad Mini. And as always, I do these live streams so you can ask questions, because I can't always respond to every single comment, every single email in a timely manner. So this is a great time to chat anything e-bikes. Doesn't necessarily have to be about this bike. Happy to help in any way I can. And you should also note that I am not a professional bike mechanic. Hi, Untitled. Thanks for joining. And yeah, with that, let's open this. It actually just came, yesterday. And so, as I said, just released last week, sorry. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the box. I don't necessarily recommend that you do the same, because and really any e-bike, because if for some odd reason you need to return the bike, then it's always good to have the box. I'm going to cut it, it's just easier, because really you need two people to lift these bikes. Sean says, thanks for doing this. Thanks for joining me. Should be a fun one. I think there's a fair bit to talk about with this one. You can see we have the popular Rad design coloring box kind of design. So maybe you have kids and maybe they want to do some coloring. So let's see. This is the RadExpand 5, and it's important to note that this is not the 5th generation of the Expand. The Rad Mini has been around. I think the step through is in its 2nd iteration, and then the other Rad Mini step through, which is kind of the high step model, is in its 4th generation. And so they kind of went with one model now. So this is replacing both the Rad Mini step through and the high step Rad Mini. And it also comes in at a better price. We can talk a little bit more about some of the changes. Again, if you're just joining me and you do plan to purchase a Rad Power Bike, check out the link in the description. Really appreciate you using that. It's a free way to support the channel. You just click the link and make your purchase, and I do get a commission from that, so thanks in advance. We're looking at some of the packaging here. Have my side snips. Peter says, looks like another hit for Rad. I would tend to agree. So it's a little bit tricky being someone who has been around Rad and other brands and really watching prices and talking about models for some time, because what was once a $1,500 bike is a $1,600 or $1,700 bike. And so when you're looking at this bike, which is now priced at $1,299, you need to take into consideration that prices have been increasing due to shipping costs, supply constraints, a number of different reasons. And so the Rad Mini has been at $1,299 before the step through, which again will no longer be offered. But they did recently raise it to $1,499. And so technically this is a price decrease, and we'll talk about some of the specific things that have changed on this bike in a little bit. I'm just going to cut away some of these zip ties. Definitely want some side snips and make it a lot easier. And maybe I'll try to get this other wheel. Box has a little bit of damage on the other side, not too terribly bad, but let's see if there's anything that needs to be addressed. I'm going to take this. Got the Rad Power Bike seat with their branding and a handle on the back. Usually I try to take off the front tire. Of course, as I said, I'm not a bike mechanic. This isn't a tutorial. Rad Power Bikes is one of those companies that does a really good job of putting videos out if you do plan to assemble. So be sure to check out the official videos if you are interested. Daniel says, I'm planning to buy an e-bike. I saw many videos from your channel. I'm considering between a Ride Run Up 700 series versus the Rad Runner Plus. What do you recommend? So what I would potentially be thinking about with those two models, I think it's more important for you to first narrow down the style of electric bike that you want, because those are very different electric bikes. On one hand, you have the Rad City, not the Rad City, the Ride One Up 700 series, which is a city bike. And on the other hand, you have the Rad Runner Plus, which is kind of a cargo, utility, more of a do-everything kind of bike. Has wider tires. It's kind of a moped-style e-bike, so you're getting a lot of different features. And so you should really think about really what is your use case for the bike. And then I think, you can compare across models. Just generally, both of those bikes are great. We set up a Rad Runner Plus just the other night, and, I think it's a pretty good deal. Like we have their Thule seat, which can go on the back of it, has a back rack. And let's see, the Plus has all the accessories, of course, front suspension, derailleur. And so I think it is a good bike if that's the kind of style of bike you want. And if you don't, the 700 series has to be one of the best value city e-bikes on the market. That bike has gone through multiple generations at this point. I feel like they've really got, everything kind of dialed in. It even looks nicer than it used to. And I really like the Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. It's a great city bike for sure. So let me know if you have any follow-up questions. Here's the RadExpand 5 owner's manual. Do get a sticker and a zip tie. We'll see if we figure out what that's for. And then they do give you a little card here. Super high gas prices should help e-bike sales this year. Completely agree. Got the standard Rad toolkit here. Again, if you are joining us and you plan to buy this bike or any other Rad Power Bike, check out the links in the description. You get a nicer, Phillips screwdriver than they used to include, and the normal tools, all the wrenches that you could need. I'll probably use my Topic wrench, but the toolkit is there. All right, let's see what else we have here. So we have the pedals. So this is a little bit interesting. I guess I had assumed that it came with folding pedals, but it actually doesn't. But maybe you don't need the folding pedals for the way this bike folds up, because it is a folding bike. But you do get the Wellgo plastic pedals with this one. A lot of the more expensive models, I guess, have metal pedals. It's a small thing, really. You can always upgrade. But we got the headlight box here. Sean says he's looking at cars. Yeah, not a great time to purchase a car, but maybe a great time to buy an e-bike and replace a car. That's really our use case. We like to ride our e-bikes and not take our car. We're a one-car family. All right, here's the new front headlight. I don't know if this will come on other models, but I mean, I kind of like the one with the ring around it, but if this one's brighter, that'll be just interesting. So something I'll cover in the review. Has some branding on the back as well. So, and let's see, we have the faceplate for the stem. I'll be putting that on, and we have, what is this? Oh, the RadExpand Velcro strap. I'm not sure what the Velcro strap would be used for, but maybe to hold the bike when it is folded. That's kind of interesting. Haven't seen that before. And we have the fender mounting hardware for the front fender. You have to put that on. And then we have the charger here. Now it is kind of interesting. I've seen a couple different chargers coming on different bikes. This is their standard charger. The other one is still a 2-amp charger, but they have made one that came with our Rad Rover 6 Plus, but not with our Rad City Plus. That actually has a wall mount, so you could hang it, and it has like an orange cord. So it doesn't really charge your bike, or it definitely does not charge your bike any faster. All right, so now I actually don't know where the I was looking for the fender. Should be a front fender around here. And I was also looking for the quick release, which must be zip tied somewhere. I didn't see it in that big box. That's usually sometimes where I see it. So I'll just keep going through some of these zip ties, and I'm sure I'll find the quick release maybe down by the front wheel. All right. Does this have 20-inch tires? Yes. These do have 20-inch tires, and one of the changes is they went up from 3-inch or 3.3, can't remember. I think it was 3.3 maybe. I can't remember. But they did increase the tire width. So now it has 4 inches, and you'll note that this no longer has front suspension like the other Rad Minis. So that was kind of one of the big changes, but it's also lighter, between 5.5 pounds and 6.5 pounds, I think, depending on the Rad Mini model. So it's lighter, doesn't have a front suspension, doesn't have the LCD screen, has the LED screen, which I can talk a little bit more about, but 20 by 4-inch tires. Sean says he has a 120-mile round trip work commute. For an e-bike like this, I need at least one spare battery. Yeah, that's a very long commute. Yeah, probably would be nicer to live closer to work to save, especially with gas prices now. I just bought a Rad Rover 6 Plus. It was lost in shipping, so sadly they had to make a new order. Well, I'm glad they took care of you. All right, and then the other thing that they now include is the rear rack. So that was like a bonus. So there's kind of an interesting release from Rad. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have everything here. Rad has all these safety tags around the bike telling you, like this one, be sure the seat height is properly set. And so the RadExpand 5 again has the external battery that is very common on the Rad Power Bikes model. It's been around for now several years, I feel like. Still just keeping an eye out for that quick release. I'm sure it's somewhere. And this bike comes in 2 different colors, black and white. Kind of wish they maybe included a different color, but the white really looks sharp. It's more of a kind of a pearly white. Let's see if I can. Alrighty. Lots of zip ties. Lots of zip ties. Oh, it looks like the quick release is actually attached down here to the shipping plate. That's sometimes how it comes. All right. So I should be able to, we'll see here in a second. All right. So the other thing they changed was the handlebars on this bike. And so instead of the kind of, I guess, more squared off handlebars, they have these more BMX style bars. And so you can see that this is the folding mechanism, and it's, really kind of small folding mechanism here. And so I'll show you here in just a second. I guess I probably needed to loosen that up, but all right. And we will have to flip the fork around here. And if you're watching this live, I mean, we've heard from one person already looking at a couple of electric bikes, but I'd love to hear if you're considering this bike or kind of what you're looking at. I'm going to go ahead and install the handlebars right away just to get them out of the way. The bike is kind of sitting here nicely, so looks like you kind of have to bring them up a little bit. Let's see. I see they're kind of wrapped around the. This is kind of interesting. Seems like I have to. Let's see. Those are fine. So I turned it the wrong way. So I had the front fork the correct way, but I just needed to, just got to spin this around. Then we'll be in business, I think, here. So you no longer get any adjustability up and down with these handlebars, but you do get, adjustability here, front and back. And since I know more people are joining us again, link in the description if you're looking to purchase a Rad Power Bike. It's a free way to support the channel and helps us put out more videos and review more electric bikes. And it's going to be a busy month. We have 13 bikes that I currently have that are waiting to review. We have some nice weather coming up here in Wisconsin. And then in just a minute, I will check your comments here. Just want to get these handlebars started. Otherwise, we'll be here all night if I don't actually make progress here. So I am a big fan of these handlebars. I think they are better than the other ones, and I think a lot of people will like the ability to bring them closer to you. Oops. All right, let's grab one. It's a little bit tricky to get this faceplate on here. They're kind of like top heavy. I suppose I should cut that off as well. Kind of like top heavy handlebars. There we go. I can get it started. Did drop one here. And of course, if you are lucky enough to live in an area where Rad does their, mobile service and mobile delivery, you could pay someone to assemble. Or if you're lucky enough to live in a city where you have an e-bike friendly bike shop like we do, you can pay to have it assembled. All right, I'm gonna guess maybe a 4 on this. Let's see. Yep. And these, besides moving front and back, they also look like they kind of sweep back a little bit towards you. So that's a difference as well. And I actually recently did a review of the Rad Mini, so the previous generation of this bike. And at $14.99, I thought it was the best value Rad power bike as far as, kind of what you get for the price. And I think they still probably have them available for the time being, but they will be, I'm sure they'll just sell out the remaining inventory and then they will no longer be available. But now I feel like maybe it's the RadExpand 5 is the best value, because if you're looking at the models, so you have this at $12.99. Just below this, you have the Rad Mission at $11.99, and that's a single speed. And then going up from here, you have the Rad Runner 2, and that's also a single speed. And this one does have 7 speeds. So, yeah, I think probably this is going to be a bike I recommend quite a bit just because of its great value. I'm just going to kind of get these handlebars in here, and then when I sit on the bike, I'll be able to get a better feel for, where I want them positioned. And while you are paying $12.99 for this bike, you're not really compromising on really a whole lot. I mean, we talked about the front suspension, but then the increase of the tire width, but you still get the 14 amp hour battery. So that's kind of nice. And you get the 750 watt peak motor, so it's going to be plenty capable for a majority of riders, at least in my opinion. Got my Topic ratchet wrench. This just makes this go a little bit faster. All right, I'm going to leave them there. I'm going to check out some of your comments. Try to do my best here. Okay, I'm considering this Rad and the Electric XP 2.0. What do you think of the electric? I really like the Electric XP. I think it's a great value for the price. I did a full review, so you can check that out if you're interested. There are differences, obviously, not only price, but battery capacity and some other things. Just the look of the bike. But I think they're both great options. I wouldn't really hesitate to recommend either of them. It's just going to depend on your use case and your budget and things like that. Sean says him and his wife have definitely been looking at this bike, just like yours in white. Yep, I think the white looks really sharp. An e-bike is the only way she can keep up to me on my road bikes. Yep, that's great. E-bikes are the great equalizer. That's what I always say. And I know I'll have fun on it too. Yep. And I should just point out, even though they're only offering this in the step through, that doesn't mean that it's a girl's bike. It's actually really nice to have a step through. I like riding step through bikes, just much easier to hop on them. These BMX handlebars are so much nicer than the T-type. I think that's a good description, the T-type handlebars. I'll probably start using that. Thanks, Peter. I'm almost 6 feet tall, and I'm concerned about how this bike would fit. Well, Donald, I am also 6 feet tall, so if you wait for my review, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I'll maybe try to stand over it as well and give you an idea in here. Afraid that once the seat is set for proper leg extension, that'll be hunched over the handlebars. I want to say this, if I remember the specs, it might be riders 4'10" to 5'10", and I believe the Rad Mini was the same way. But at 6 feet tall, I still rode the Rad Mini. I felt fine. Sell me your back rack. Need one for my 4. So that's the old Rad Mini. Well, maybe you'll be lucky and they will they'll discount the old Rad Mini racks, or maybe they're not in stock. I'm not sure. But okay, let's continue on here. Appreciate all the comments. We actually have probably our largest audience would be my guess. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but what makes these videos possible is people using our links before they make a purchase. So links in the description. Warning, failure to properly attach the quick release may result in wheel loss and serious personal injury. Rad is definitely taking the stance of letting people know, making sure that they're aware of if you do decide to assemble it. Those warnings are actually probably helpful if you're not, if you are going to assemble and you're not really, haven't had experience setting up bikes. I did notice that so there's this little spacer that goes in between your discs, and that's so you definitely don't want to hit the front brake on your bike when the wheel isn't in. That might actually fell out, but that's what this is. If you're having trouble putting the front wheel on, check for that. And there's a quick release here, so I'm gonna try to pop this off and throw the front wheel on. Let's see what's going on here. Seems like it wants to lift out on one side and not the other. Let's try this again. There we go. Just a little bit tricky, not too bad. All right, so you have your quick release up here in the front, and you want to get rid of the extra plastic parts. And there's even instructions right here. So even if you don't watch the Rad video, it's really nice. They're definitely a company that is trying to make it really easy for the consumer, which I appreciate. And I know when I took off the little protector on the wheel here, I kind of broke off a little piece. So I'm just going to stick the quick release here and pop that out. It's happened a few times to me. Usually it pops out a little easier than this. Sometimes they kind of get jammed in there and you can't get them out. Obviously you want to be careful. Oh, that's not fun. Let's see if I can cut this away and see what's going on. Just this little plastic piece here. It was really jammed in there trying to protect the usually they pop right out. Man, that is in there. So I don't know if I have it, but there's a little plastic piece that goes on to protect. And when I pulled it off, it just kind of broke off in there. Stand by here. Must have really been wedged in there. Man, I haven't had one that's this hard to get out of there. Just trying to break up the plastic a little bit. Man, that is stuck in there. I want to be able to get the wheel on here. Let's see. Usually this trick works just hitting the quick release, but this plastic is just really stuck in there. See if I can't work it out a little bit with the knife here. Again, one of the nice things about just having a bike shop do it. Always highly recommend that. Let's try that again. There we go. Just in case you're wondering, this is what was stuck in there, part of the plastic guard. No big deal. All right, and then what I like to do is the lever side on the non-disc side. All righty. And these, I should maybe show it. And these little metal springs face, the widest part should be on the outside. So if I put it in, it's going to look like this on the outside. So go ahead and put that on there. And we'll get this front wheel on here. Okay. It's kind of nice. The bike has kind of in this rear cardboard stand, so that has kind of helped me. And again, the bike is a little bit lighter than some bikes. I might back it up just a little bit here so I can get in here. This is something that's usually easier with two people if you don't have the bike in a bike stand, but kind of bring the bike towards you, line the disc rotor up. All right. I think we're almost there. There we go. All right, and you have the 4 bolts on the front for all the accessories that you can put on there. And again, I will check the comments in just a second. These are, let's see, these are CST 20 by 4 inch tires. Got a lot of tread on them, so definitely can take it off-road. And I talked about the no suspension, but then the fat tires. So one thing, if you aren't aware, you can really lower the pressure on fat tire electric bikes, and that's going to offer a lot of cushion. If you do end up doing a little bit off-roading. So I'm just trying to make sure I get this tight enough here, and that'll do for now. And I always do definitely do a different another kind of safety check before I end up riding. You can see the handlebars are still loose enough so I can adjust them. Let's go ahead and take the cardboard off in the rear here. All right, and the kickstand. All right, check some comments here. Just started looking into these bikes. We saw one on a hike yesterday. It looks like a lot of fun. I think it was the Electric XP 2.0. Yep, if it had blue writing, black, white, and then blue writing, it's a very popular bike. How well do these help with extremely hill climbs on rough terrain? I would be pedaling, but would like to get some range too. So with all of our reviews, we do a hill climb test. I know it's not over rough terrain, but you can get an idea of how powerful they are. The Rad Power Bikes peak at 750 watts. There are bikes that do peak higher, but in my opinion, if you do plan to pedal, these motors are plenty capable. Of course, if you're climbing a mountain or something, maybe that's not the case. It might be an edge case. I'm still debating between the Eastman Nesta or save a few hundred getting a Rad Mini or this one. All good options. Recently did a review on the Eastman Nesta. Hi, what are those? They don't look like the CST big boats. I think get a bigger hammer. Yeah, thanks. That would have been maybe a little bit helpful, but I think cutting it away got the job done. I think, so they are CST. It's kind of black on black writing, so I'm not entirely sure if they're the big boats, but they do say CST. I'm just looking to see if there's any. Yeah, I don't see anything, but maybe in better lighting I would be able to. And I'm not familiar particularly with the big boats. But they are CST branded, so I don't know if that helps you. But I would imagine if Rad says big boats on the website, that's what they are. They're usually pretty on top of things when it comes to that. All right, we'll put on the pedals here in just a second. Just got a few more zip ties. Nice to keep your bike protected, but just a little bit of work to get all the zip ties off. I'm just trying to look here. Yeah, it looks like the motor cable comes in on the left side of this one. That's been something we've been seeing. Here's the second fender, kind of tucked up underneath the rack. So there it is. Okay, we'll get that out in a second. The rear rack is black on both of the models, so not color matched, but. And the other thing is the rear light is a new rear light that I have not seen from Rad Power Bikes before. And interestingly, they don't have the rear fender kind of stays or whatever you would want to call them kind of attached. So you have to do that as well. You would imagine that might be something I have to look up just to make sure I get the right one. I'm not entirely sure which one they attach to. I could probably look in the manual. Let's go ahead and get those pedals installed. I will use the 15 millimeter wrench that they give me. There's a 16. These ones are actually look fairly decent. All right. Does that have a front fender? Yes. I'm sure you asked that before I showed it, but yes. Plastic fenders. There you go. Let's see. Do you have to adjust the brakes out of the box? Ours seem to drag. Crazy Canadian. Absolutely. That is very common. The way I kind of like to explain it is, a bike shop who's receiving really any bike, they receive bikes in boxes, and, they do need adjustments right out of the box. It's going to be pretty rare that everything just works out of the box. So very common. You should expect to have to do that out of the box. Sometimes what I recommend people do, and I should note that the pedals are labeled, which is nice. Right hand one turns on normally, righty-tighty, and then the left one is going to be opposite. So what I like to tell people, if you have some confidence to assemble your electric bike, maybe assemble it yourself and then take it to a bike shop for kind of the fine tuning. Really for the brakes, they could make sure that all the bolts are torqued down too, just to make sure it's safe. And then they can also adjust the derailleur and really get that dialed in nicer than perhaps you might be able to if you don't have experience. It's not very difficult to do like a rear derailleur adjustments. Just if it's your first time, there's a learning curve, and you just have to have patience. The brakes can be sometimes challenging. It's hit or miss. Mechanical disc brakes can sometimes be finicky. What I usually do is get them good enough that I can go and ride, and then kind of wear them in a little bit and see if I'm still kind of getting, some rub. And usually after, 10, 20 miles of using the brakes and, bedding them in and stuff, they're usually fine. But a bike mechanic who does it all day is going to for sure be able to do a better job than I can, for sure. All right, so let's see. We got the pedals on, the plastic non-folding pedals. You can take off this piece of paper kind of wedged in here. And we do have micro shift components, not Shimano. I think they list on their website it's like a Rad compatible shifter or derailleur. And so this one came with microshift. You may or may not get those. But what I do like about them is they're like these thumb shifters beneath the handlebars. And in my experience, they actually feel pretty good. So, all right, let's see. What else do we have? The tires are CST. Gotcha. All right. And again, if you just happen to be joining us and plan to buy any of the electric bikes brands that I follow, please consider using the link in the description. Helps me out. 3 fender bolts and washers. Use a 4mm Allen wrench. Torque to 6 Newton meters. Okay, for rear fender safety on right side of bike, use the left bolt from the derailleur bash guard. Okay, well, I guess that remove and reinstall to capture fender and stay at the eyelet. Well, that's nice. I didn't even really have to look it up. Let's see. Got to get my, and I am going to do the light as well here. So we'll get this there. I'm really excited to kind of check out this light to see. Ordered a Rad Runner Plus March 2nd. Can't wait. Congratulations. I hope you love it. I think the Rad Runners are really fun bikes. They're just, I like the uniqueness. It's just a different style bike. We'll need a wrench here to hold the bolt on. I just love all the accessories and just kind of like a mini version of the Radwagon, which is probably my favorite electric bike just because our son can ride with us. This is a bigger one up front. Looks like it's a 5. Get this fender installed and handlebars tightened down, and I just am noticing around the paint, so there's kind of this white sticker here. It's a clear sticker. Now keep in mind, the reason that is there is because that's going to be a contact point when the bike is folded. So that's going to keep your frame looking nice from any potential rubbing that might happen. That's actually, I've seen it on some bikes, definitely not all of them though. So that's nice. They're thinking of keeping your bike looking nice. Okay. So we'll go ahead, pull this out, and we'll put the front light through here. And then we'll put the fender on the rear side. Don't need my bolts quite yet here. The tires do have reflective sidewalls. I can't remember if I mentioned that. And then a washer and the other bolt. And whoever was asking about the hill climb test, I will be, testing this bike out on the same hill, so it should perform, I would imagine, very similarly to the Rad Runner that we reviewed somewhat recently. So, all right. It seems like there's plenty of clearance on here. I might just, yeah, I don't think that's going to be an issue. All right, we'll get these bolts on for the fenders. And again, just like comparing it to the Rad Runner, you don't get fenders on the Rad Runner 2. You have to get the Plus for that. Though they are offered as an additional accessory. Just talking about kind of the price. And actually, I was going to look at these brakes too and see. I don't know if they might not be Tektro Aries mechanical disc brakes. We'll see here in just a sec. These do still include a bell, but it is not integrated into the brake levers anymore, at least on this model. All right, so these are radius mechanical disc brakes. Now, I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure the radius, I've tested out the radius hydraulic brakes on the V-Volt, and I'm just wondering if that's the same brand. I would imagine so. So that's interesting. I have not, as far as I know, I have not ridden an electric bike with radius mechanical disc brakes. So we'll see how they feel. I'm so used to, so all the Rad Power Bikes models, okay, so all the Rad Power Bikes models except for the Rad Rover 6 Plus and the Rad City 5 Plus had previously all had Tektro Aries mechanical disc brakes. So this is a departure from that, if you will. All right, got the fender on, got that light on. I think it's snug. I'm just going to double check here. And I will try to turn the bike on in a moment. I just really like this tool. It just makes so much easier to do things like this. I think I have it on our electric bike accessories list. But, all right, tighten that down. That should be good. And I am going to try to get this review out pretty quickly, if at all possible. We have, like I said, we have some nice weather. Here's the keys. They came in a bag. They're the standard Rad keys. All right. Okay. I guess the main thing we're after is something that we can sit upright on. I don't like hunching over the handlebars because my hands get pins and needles while also being able to ride on trails. Totally understand that. I mean, we'll see how I feel on these, but the nice thing is the front and back capability is really nice. The other thing is you can look at bikes with swept back handlebars. That's going to put you in a more upright riding position. And you can also not necessarily, well, you might be able to get away with it, but you can also get a bike that, or buy an accessory called an adjustable stem and really raise the handlebars up. Mason asks, are you thinking of doing a review on the Aventon Cinch step through? I hope so. I am in touch with Aventon and I'm hoping to make that happen because I think it's a really cool looking bike. Simply C says, I bought the RadExpand 2 days ago, had some help putting it together. All went well. Wow, yours shipped out really fast than if you just bought it 2 days ago. Maybe you live in an area where the Rad mobile service, not sure. Yep, and up here, a huge shortage on back racks. Looking for an orange one. Yep, I like the orange. What's the top speed? Oh, good question. This is a Class 2 electric bike. And what that means is that it tops out at 20 miles per hour with the throttle or while pedaling. That is the max speed on this electric bike. All right, I think I'm going to get the handlebars sorted here. Let's see, was it a 5, 4, 5? One size smaller here. And I do need to cut one more. All right. So let's go ahead and raise the seat up a little bit. And I will put it at its max height in here in just a second. I just want to try to get these handlebars both centered and front and back kind of where I want them. There's no markings on the center of this handlebar, so you kind of have to eyeball it, which is a little bit tricky. So I might have to adjust the let me adjust the camera upright a little bit just to give you an idea. The handlebar adjustment here. Hopefully that's a little bit better. All right, so I mean, definitely pretty upright in my opinion. And then you can go, lower if you're shorter. Obviously, the seat would be lower, and then you can go a little bit further forward if you wanted to as well. So I think I'm liking them right. Maybe a little bit more towards me. That feels pretty good. We'll try that. And just going to slide them over just a touch. It's kind of tricky to find the center, but just do your best. And I'm sure it's one of those things where I'll notice as I'm riding it if I don't have it quite. So radius levers up here as well. And again, the LED display. What is kind of cool about these handlebars, you kind of have because they have a BMX style bars and you have this flat bar here, gives you a spot to put some accessories front and center because you don't have the display. The display is over here on the right hand side. So just making sure these are tight. You would want to torque these down to spec if you're doing it by the book. All right, right hand twist grip throttle, rubber grips here. Brakes actually just, initial impressions feel pretty good for mechanical disc brakes. And let's see, I got to install that rear fender. I'll do that quickly. And then I will turn it on and answer any questions. Okay, so they did say the left side of that. That's going to be over here. There is a derailleur guard right here. Kind of excited to check out this micro shift and just kind of see how that feels. One thing that I think is worth pointing out, so the rear rack, love that it is included. I think that is great because I think Rad does a really good job with their rear racks. They feel, really well built. Definitely some of the nicer ones that you see, especially the fact that this one, is included. And so while this does have the Thule Maxi window, it is not recommended that you ride this bike with the window or with the child seat. And I experienced that firsthand when we were in Florida not too long ago. And your heels can hit the child seat, and that's just not safe. So this is not an electric bike that you should purchase if you plan to haul your kids. Look at the Rad Runner, Rad City, Rad Rover, Rad Wagon, pretty much anything else except for the Rad Mission. That's not going to work either. So, all right, and then we did that one, so we'll match it here on this side. So they do still have a little orange on the bike towards the rear. I'm curious how bright this rear rack is. On the rear of the fender too, they do have a reflector. And so on this rear rack though, they do sell, baskets. You can get you can attach the small or large basket directly to this, and they sell roll top bags, which are really high quality. And then of course you can also get the front rack, and those baskets work up there too. I just think Rad does a really good job with the accessories that they offer. Okay, I think that is pretty much it. I'm gonna try to hop on it, and I guess I should make sure the bike is turned on. Oh, Sean was talking about the front rack. Okay. You have been testing Rad for a long time now. How is the long term on them for dependability? So in my opinion, Rad Power Bikes, if you're not familiar, they've raised over $300 million. They have, as far as I know, the largest customer support team of any e-bike company. certainly in the US or really anywhere. And so they have great customer support. So you can rely on them for having, for instance, like the batteries, the controllers, these displays are going to be available for years to come. Almost no question. They're a company that's going to be around for a long time. And because they use similar components on a lot of their electric bikes, they're going to have those in stock. Now, the caveat to that is, of course, with shipping delays and shipping containers and just generally delays really with many different parts across the supply chain, there perhaps have been some challenges there. So, but generally in my experience, I mean, I've even had they replaced our RadWagon rear wheel. Took a while to get it, but they did send one. And before I kind of started the channel and before I had the forum, we had a 2018 RadWagon. We had I can't remember. I think it was a disc. There was like a stripped bolt. They took care of that as well. So from my perspective, you really won't find a better company longevity wise. And in my opinion, they hold up really well. There's actually some people that have really put these motors to the test and no issues. So and in my experience too, reading things and my own personal experience, if you're going to have issues, it's probably going to happen shortly after you get your bike. Of course, things can happen down the road, but if your bike kind of works and you ride it for a summer or a season, it's likely it's going to continue working. Of course, there's always exceptions, especially when you're selling as many e-bikes as they do. So Simply C says, yes, bought it on site from Rad Mobile Site dealer in Austin. That's awesome. That's really cool. What is the typical charge time with these types of bikes? Assuming the batteries were at low level, is it better to storage charge the batteries like LiPos, assuming I'm going to leave it alone a bit? Okay, so we did a video, not this year, but the previous season on winter storage for your electric bikes. You can check out that video if you are interested. But charging wise, most electric bikes come with 2 amp chargers, which means, and the average size and the size you'll find on the Rad Power bikes, they're 14 amp hour batteries. So 7 times 2, so 7 hours if it's completely dead to charge up. They're all slow chargers. In the rare case, you'll find a 3 amp charger, and I've seen as high as 4 amps, but usually they charge, kind of a trickle charge over time. So, and you don't necessarily want to leave them unattended. Long-term storage, the general consensus between all different brands is between 30 and 70%. So if you have it charged to 100, you want to drain it a little bit before the end of the season. We try to leave most of ours around 80 or so percent, 60, 70, 80% around that range for long-term storage. But there's other tips in that video, so check that out. What's your favorite RadWagon? No question. Just a beast to be able to carry things. You can put 2 child seats on it, which we'll use it for this year. The versatility of it. It used to be like the same price as all their bikes when we first bought our first one, and it was incredible value. But I still think it's the best cargo bike at the price to date. So that's our favorite. It's the one we use the most. We always take our RadWagon and then a separate electric bike. Me and my wife and our kids. Are the rims not smooth like the minis step through? They look different in the pictures. The rims are definitely smooth. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm not quite understanding that. Do you happen to have a blank key to try out to see if the problem carried over? I don't. I apologize. But all right, I'm going to turn it on. And so LED display. Hit the power button, and let's see, the front light should turn on if I had it plugged in. Let me go ahead and turn it off quick. It's just a quick connector here. Just got to line it up. Again, if you happen to be just joining us live right now and you're looking to make any purchase with Rad Power Bikes, check out the link in the description. Free way to help me continue to make videos like this one, live stream and review videos. We posted our top fat tire e-bikes that we've tested video today, pretty popular one. There's the light. Looks pretty bright in my opinion. I don't know if it's brighter than the old one, but kind of it looks nice. The rear light, I don't know if I can spin this around. There's the rear light. It does go extra lights when you hit the brakes, so that's cool. Yeah, definitely an improvement on the rear light, and the front one's going to be very challenging to see on the screen. So there's that. And one of the things that I really like about what I previously liked about the previous generation, the Rad Mini Step Through, was the battery position. If you look here, the nice thing is the battery's right here in the front, and you can simply lift up on the battery, and you kind of uses gravity to help put it back in place. I know someone asked about height, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the seat post out, and I'm going to look for the minimum insertion point, which is right here. And I'm going to put it at that height. It is a 27.2, so if you're looking for a suspension seat post, again, that'll be in our electric bike accessories list, but you can just buy the 27.2. Also can buy that right from Rad Power Bikes. I'm going to drop it down just another little touch. Okay. All right, so I'm 6 feet tall, and this is in its maximum position. So hopefully I have a 32-inch inseam. Hopefully that gives you a little bit idea. I mean, maybe I'd go up a touch higher if I could, but that's pretty good leg extension. I mean, unless I was doing like a ton of riding, maybe it would be uncomfortable, but I personally think that this is going to be fine for me. They have the RadExpand branding here, as well as towards the rear, bottle cage bosses or for a lock here. And we have the lever here to release the bike. And then I quite like this lever, and then you can hold the bike. I'll fold it in our full video that I do, my full review, hopefully out in the next couple of weeks, if not sooner. So, and then the handlebars obviously fold. I think I need to adjust one of these bolts before let's see if they'll, yeah, I think maybe I'll do that quick. And we're going to be wrapping things up shortly. So if you have any other questions, or if I miss anything that you want to hear, let me know. There we go. Just had to make an adjustment. There's where those handlebars are going to fold down. And that's how they kind of go, I guess. All right. Really like these handlebars. Pretty cool. Again, 7 speeds up here. Wonder if I need to loosen. This bolt is just kind of for adjustment purposes to kind of dial it in perfectly. So should fold and then back. There. There we go. I think it's all locked now. So there you have it. That's the RadExpand 5. Pretty nice bike. Again, 5-6 pounds lighter. That's going to, of course, be really handy when you're putting the bike in the back of your vehicle. Don't necessarily have to have a bike rack. All right. Let's see. Where did they save weight besides the standard fork? Maybe a little bit in the handlebars. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, you have to remember those suspension forks, some of them can be quite heavy. I can put it next to I have a Rad Mini in the garage. So maybe in the review, I'll try to put it next to the other one and just see maybe there's a little bit thinner tubing around here, because it is similar, and especially if they're considering the rear rack. You also, I'm trying to think what else there might be, but yeah, I think it's mostly the fork, but Maybe they trimmed weight around the tubing as well on the bike. I'm noticing keys. Does removing the key prevent thieves from pedaling away with your bike, or does it disable the electrical components? Okay, so the important thing to note with these keys, all the way right is going to be on. One click left is going to be the bike cannot be powered on and the battery is locked. And then you kind of push it in and turn it. One more click, and that is completely unlocked. So I could remove the battery now. So in the middle, it is going to prevent thieves. But keep in mind, these batteries are $500, $600 on Rad's website. So if you live in an area where bike theft is a problem, thieves are going to know that this battery is worth a lot, and perhaps they can take your battery. In my opinion, bring the battery in with you if at all possible. If you're worried about it, you can get a bike alarm. I did a video on that. You can hide an alarm on here. People use Apple AirTags as well. The alarm is a cheap solution, 20 bucks. You can hide it, and any movement sets off a really loud and obnoxious alarm. There are some GPS alarms. I personally haven't noticed any that I feel like I can recommend just yet. I think that's what I want to say about bike thieves. And so what some of these folks have alluded to is you used to be able to take a Honda blank key, and I don't know, maybe you still can, and unlock these batteries. So I mean, if you watch Lock Picking Lawyer, I'm sure this, someone with a lot of skill would be able to pick these. So that's the security. Can you demonstrate the handlebar adjustments? I did that a little bit earlier. If you are just joining us, I kind of moved them front and back. I don't want to take them off because I kind of got them dialed in. But basically, these handlebars move towards me and away from me, and so they can get you in a little bit better position. But it's not like a quick release. You need to unscrew the 4 bolts. So you'll definitely kind of want to set that and forget it. Are the Rad 6 Plus using the same generic key for all the? No, I would imagine. I mean, I haven't tried it. I assume that they're using multiple keys for the Rad 6 Plus batteries. Usually, from what I've seen from some companies, is they have 7 to 10 keys on that they use, and so if you need a replacement, you tell them like the code, and then they're just grabbing you the key that happens to coincide. So there's maybe a chance that you have the same key as someone else. Again, batteries, bring them inside if at all possible. Use alarms, use locks. Another tip, I'll bring this up. I think I saw it on the forum. So I also run the Rad Owners forum, radowners.com, and there's tons of great information on there. But you can get I wish, if someone knows the name of it, let me know. I can't. It's like a security lock bolt for your seat post. And so potentially what you could do is you could remove this quick release and you put that lock on there. And if you're riding with the seat height low enough, that's going to prevent anyone from lifting the battery up. So an additional security measure, I guess. I thought that was pretty cool. Plastic pedals and plastic front bash guard. Plastic pedals, yes. Bash guards in the rear, that is metal. I don't know if you're talking about the fenders, but yeah, the fenders are plastic. Save some weight. Yeah. Hopefully the rims are still double walled, not single walled. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure. I could ask them. So, all right. Last chance for questions. If you have any, happy to answer them. Again, links in the description will help you out if you're shopping for an electric bike, looking to get a deal on one, looking for accessories, and or you're just looking to purchase a rad power bike. And I really appreciate everyone's support. We've been able to do some more fun things. I've been able to upgrade my camera equipment and things like that. So I really appreciate that. And we might have some really fun things in the future that I can't quite talk about yet. So Simply C, thank you for joining us. Sean, thank you as well. And yeah, I think this has been a great live stream. Thanks for everyone. joining me. We will be back at least one day this week. We have three bikes more to unbox. And so then I have to get out riding and some more reviews. Donald says, thanks for the assembly. Thanks, Donald, for joining us. All right. With that, everyone, hope everyone has a great night. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.